And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day of the OSC Season 12 Championship Upper Bracket Round 2. I'm, of course, just VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the Hugh in the chat, by my plushies as well. Welcome, one and all, to another day of the OSC Championship. And again, we have been going over this for the past couple of days, and it's been, a long-running event. For those that are curious, of course, I'm your host, Live VIP, Pappy. I'm, of course, your host here, and the OSC Championship is a year-long event. Every single year for the past, 12 years? It's been 12 years. it's been 12 years. Oh my god. But every single year for the past 12 years, we've had an OSC Championship. Basically, this is an end-of-year event, I guess, beginning of year event in a way, where throughout the entirety of the year, players have been accumulating points, they've been gathering points throughout the entire year through online events, through an online circuit, and now we're here to determine the online champion. Here we go. Yesterday we wrapped up day 1, and here we are live with day number 2. And if you're curious, let's switch things over. Let's have a look here at the matches ahead of us. Here we go. We have 4 best of 5s. These are best of 5s, bear that in mind. On top of that, this is a double elimination bracket. A lot of matches to be held, a lot of games to be had as well. Actually, I believe I can maybe have something better for you here. Let's go. As we have these 5 matches ahead of us. We had 4 matches ahead of us. We had 4 matches yesterday as well, so plenty of content, plenty of matches to come ahead of us. And I got you here. I believe we have the upper bracket and the lower bracket, just for some greater context as to what's going on and as to what's to come as well. There's a lot of matches. There's a lot of matches, as you can imagine here. Oh, so I should have had this set up earlier. Un momento. Does this work? Your cell brackets. This kind of works. Let's have a look. Bam. Okay. Here we go. We have the upper bracket here of the event. As you can see, we have a lot to go through. We have a lot of matches to go through here. We have, oh my god, we have the first round, which did conclude, featuring SKillous advancing on over Young Yakov, Nightmare over Rebellion, Cure over Creator, Christiana versus Middle VK, Wayne over Classic, and Shameless versus Hon Mono. Again, a lot of matches were held. The first round is concluded, and we are here with the second round instead. As you can see here, we do have players waiting in the third round as well. We have Hero, we have Maxfax, we have Gerald, we have Shin, and all the way on the right hand side we have Björn, and we have Dark as well in the later rounds, in the later stages. Again, this event is most likely going to run all month, maybe into February as well. There's a lot of games to be played, there's a lot of matches to be had, so there's a lot to catch up. On. As you can imagine, there's also the lower bracket. it's double elimination, pappy. It's double elim, so we have the lower bracket as well, so no one has been eliminated yet from the tournament. They all get knocked down to the lower bracket instead, so there are even more matches being held. And these are all best of 5s, by the way. They're all best of 5s. It's crazy, pappy. It's crazy. Oh my god. We'll get there. Alas, until then, we have today's games. We have SKillous versus Nicoract, Cure versus Nightmare, Wayne versus Christiana, and Clem versus Shameless. 3 TVPs and 1 ZVP. I don't know what it is as of late, but we've been casting a lot of Terran versus Protoss. A lot of Terran versus Protoss matches have been held here on the CranKy Ducklings. I feel like maybe 70% of the games over the past week. It's like this week has been very Terran Protoss heavy. I'm glad we at least have one non-TVP matchup. We have a Zerg match in there at some point with Wayne versus Christiana. We'll get there. It's all good. It'll happen. But otherwise, we have our first series. We have our first match here of the night. We have SKillous versus Nicoract, 2 players from the European region. I'm curious how they do compare to each other. Again, SKillous is a heavy favorite. SKillous, he has been looking on fire as of late, has been looking very, very good, especially amongst even the best players in the world. SKillous has been definitely leveling up. Likewise, Nicoract, this is his best matchup. TVP is where he excels. We have seen him bring down players of the caliber of Hero in the past. Nicoract is an animal, and we expect aggression. We expect all-ins. We expect him to be in the face of SKillous. Let's go. As we get into game 1, it's going to be on Whispers of Gold. Now, the format of the event for today's broadcast is going to be covering the first 2 matches, then we'll be having a short break, then we'll be finishing off the day of StarCraft. The initial day, I should say, as of course today we have 2 broadcasts here. Later on tonight is going to be Masters Coliseum, of course, is going to be day 2 of this week's Masters Coliseum round. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the red Protoss player representing Team Liquid. It is SKillous. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Terran player representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Nicoract. And again, we've casted plenty of Nicoract here on the channel over the past year. He's been a very active player in the online tournament circuits, and in these online events we've seen quite a plethora of his TVP matches, but again, they mainly are based on aggression, whether it's proxies, whether it's cheeses, whether it's 2 base all-ins, whether it's 2 base all-ins again, and maybe even another 2 base all-in. We don't often get to see the macro play out of Nicoract in this matchup. We do see it from time to time, more so than Hold Mono, for example. Like Nicoract, he's not as animalistic as Hold Mono, I will emphasize that, but again, is typically more so in the face of his opponent than less so, or than not. So curious how he does approach SKillous, as again, SKillous is going to be coming in as one of the heavy hitters to take a deep run in this tournament. We'll see how far he can go. We shall see. So now we do have our standard openers. It is going to be an economic opener here out of Nicoract, going for a Rax Expand. Single gas here by a Terran player. Likewise, a Gate Cybercore into Nexus from SKillous. So standard opener out of SKillous, economic opener out of Nicoract. As SKillous is being as annoying as possible, attempting to delay the expansion. Could even go for a pylon block, but outside of that, shouldn't really achieve too much here with this probe, as at least forcing some inefficient mining, 1 SCV off the mineral line. As he dips back in, and Nicoract expands. CC's on the way. Command Center is on the way. Just catching up. This is still live. Hello. The broadcast is live, but we are going over the replays here today. Is the plan. Let's go. I mean, in general, the way this format works is that the players, they play their matches ahead of time, and then they submit replays. They submit their replays, which we do cover here on the channel. As there are just a lot of matches happening at once, it is a little bit easier to just have the players individually schedule their matches amongst themselves. So the Reaper is going to be zoned away. Likewise, behind this is going to be a Twilight Council opener. Twilight Council out of SKillous. Working towards Blink. How many gates? That's the real question. Do we go 2-gate Blink, 3-gate Blink, or 4-gate Blink Stalker? How aggressive is he going to be? Meanwhile, speaking of aggression, we spoke about it earlier, but Nicoract, he's going for a 3 Rax. Let's go. That's a second and third Rax on the way. Delay on the factory, delay on the starport. What does this mean? This means a very strong stim timing. We have +1 on the way with that eBay stim, of course, combat shields. This can, of course, hit quite hard, and it is on SKillous to figure out what's going on. It is on SKillous to scout, and does he commit to the shade? Oh, he does, and he does spot the second Rax. Big tell. Doesn't see the third Rax yet, but I mean, seeing the lack of factory, seeing the Rax instead, it does tell him most of what he needs to know. SKillous, he is aware. Shading in with a second Adept. And gets eyes on the Marine production. From here, can dip away. And back at home, SKillous, you should be prioritizing on the Stalker production, and the goal here should be to reduce Stalkers, to be active on the map, and to slow down the push. Until then, the Adept's doing a great job here at denying mining time. As Nicoract, of course, is heavily oversaturated in the main and cannot mine here at the natural. Not with these Adepts. Not with the Adepts on the way. SKillous, he finally does shade away. Doesn't overstay his welcome. Pulls back. And now Nicoract can finally resaturate his natural. And Stim has begun. Stim is on the way. Marauder production as well. Checking the vision, Nicoract, he has seen what's going on across the map. It looks like it was a 2-gate opener, by the way. 2-gate Blink into a third. Very economic here by SKillous. I would say maybe a little bit greedy here. I feel like this is what Nicoract wanted. He wants SKillous to be greedy and then to bring him down with his push, with his timing. Against SKillous, he's seen most of what he needs to. But can he stop it? Can he slow it down? As here come those Stalkers. As we mentioned before, it is so important here that SKillous is active with these Stalkers. As every Marine he brings down is, 1 Marine less for the push. Marines here reveal themselves. Forcing back the Adept. Hallucination confirms. Blink into the main with their Marauders. Ooh, the Blink is going to be punished. Yeah, SKillous, he has to get the hell out of here. This was not the play. Taking a lot of hits, and can he escape? He should be able to blink away. Whew, just barely. Almost punished. Did sustain a lot of hull damage. Again, just contained the Nicoract on 2 bases. Behind this forge on the way, 2 more gates, getting up to a 4-gate setup. Sorry, 5-gate setup even. Charges in production, but he doesn't have that many stalkers here. There we go, he is reinforcing. With enough stalkers, he can even try to pick up some of these marauders as well. As here comes the move out. Oh, does not quite get the marine. Nice moves here by Nicoract, shuffling back those weakened units. Hoping to catch out a stalker. Doesn't want to waste a stim. Does rotate towards the left. SKillous trying to keep up. Combat shields is done. SKillous poking in. Hasn't killed anything yet. Which again is concerning. Force fields are ready. Nicoract, he doesn't go for the dive. Force field gets wasted. Nicoract, he's just biding his time. Knocking down those rocks. Concussive shell almost done. Up. And he does catch a stalker. What stalker goes out? He stims. Oh, a bit of a wasted stim here by Nicoract. Does keep going. Force field will zone him back. 1 marine goes down. And SKillous, he is holding. And again, that stim was brutal. The army is weakened. Charge is about to finish. And Nicoract, he's missed his window. He's missed his window at this point. He has to pull away. And SKillous, he gets away with it. He holds, gets away with a 3rd base, and gets a fully saturated 3rd CC now on the way for Nicoract, but again, this is a little bit more delayed. Did invest quite heavily into this bio and has yet to really achieve too much. Now, what I will say, thankfully, Nicoract, he does preserve his army. Looking at the units lost tab, he lost 1 Marine, 1 Marauder, and 1 Reaper. So, because his army is still alive, this means that he can build up and get ready for a 2nd wave, a 2nd push, as he still has plenty to work with. He's got a big army. A lot of Marines, a lot of Marauders. Scans ahead of time, does confirm that there is no splash damage. Instead, it was a charge-based follow-up. Behind this, can start working towards Widow Mines or rush into Ghosts. We'll see what he goes for. SKillous does move out. That engages with the main army. Ooh. And again, that's quite a death blow of an army here for Nicoract. He has a lot to work with. This time he's got his medevacs. He can top up his army. As he moves out, SKillous is moving in. Do we go for a base trade? Oh god. Okay. For a minute, I thought the boys were being pulled. Speaking of the boys, they're going to be going down. And Nicoract, he commits. I mean, there's no turning back. Not anymore. We're going for the base trade. 4th base is going to be denied. Likewise, SKillous pushing towards the natural. Oh, that's a kill. Is a kill in the Nexus. Going towards the 3rd. Speaking of massive warp into the main, CC's going to be hunted down. And Nicoract, he has not evacuated. Workers are falling. Speaking of, SKillous likewise hasn't evacuated either. But there are pylons out on the map. Main base is going to fall. Nicoract, he does have some probes. It does have workers, so he can throw down the Nexus. And once he gets the money for it, likewise, Nicoract, he evacuates. There it is. Nexus is on the way. SKillous is expanding. Does evacuate as well. Probes, they do get away. Just barely. And Nicoract, he's making his way towards the main. He's pushing in. Now, in a head-on fight, I do favor SKillous. I do favor SKillous with his army, with the force fields, with the zealots. Hunting down the CCs. These buildings are not burning, so they will survive. But the orbital is going to go down. Ooh, and the buildings are going to be revealed. And SKillous, he has to make his final stand here at his expansion. I mean, Nicoract, he has to find it. Does have to find it. SKillous, he turns back around, looking to engage with the main army. As Nicoract, he is revealed. SKillous, he now knows there's no more bases out there. There's no mining, there's no economy. We even have a dark... there's a dark shrine on the way. I mean, that's the way to do it. True. Army supply in favor of SKillous. And again, Nicoract, he cannot fight this now. He does have medevacs. He can pick up and try to get away. Can load up. At least try to. SKillous pulling back. Doesn't take his chances. I do think he could have tried to have caught the army here with some force fields. There's potential. Oh, here's some dips in. SKillous trying to get eyes on the army. Nicoract, he's looking for the base. Observer, I mean, the Observer can just chase, yeah. I mean, there's no scans. There are no scans. Observer can just follow. Dark Shrine is done. SKillous, he is supply blocked. Speaking of more pylons going down. That's Nicoract, he's still looking for the base. He doesn't know where the expansion is. He gets another pylon. I'll just follow back. And SKillous, if he's able to just break out of the supply block, he will just win the game with DTs. Like 100%. There's just no answer. The best that Nicoract could hope for is maybe trying to force a draw, but jeez, that's a lot of hallucination. But the reality is that SKillous, he can just fight head on. And I don't see a world where Nicoract can force a draw outside of SKillous splitting up his own army, which could occur. Nicoract, he does find the expansion, does find it. Oh, goes to the stim. Does go for the stim. Again, there's just so many force fields. Like, how does he push down? He doesn't. It's not, it's not gonna happen. He cannot push in. As DT does waddle in, and again, there is no detection. He has to fight. Oh, God. he can't even fight. It can't happen. Just free damage to the Dark Templar. Another DT warps in. Just chasing down Nicoract. Buildings, they float on forward to tank some shots. And once again, he stims in. No, once in the force fields, they send him away. Cybercore goes down, but the DTs, oh my God. I mean, at this point, Nick, the SKillous, he can just fight. GG, it's called. GG, and SKillous takes game number 1. GG. Again, the base raid was probably the best chance for Nicoract. Nicoract, he could never really fight the main army at a certain point. He missed his window, missed his opportunity, and again, SKillous just had so much more complexity to his army when it came to the force fields, the amount of sentries, the charge lots, the stalkers. So the base raid was the best option for Nicoract. Unfortunately, he didn't save any of his workers, or he didn't save any of his buildings, I should say, his orbitals, I should say. So he wasn't able to really kind of force a fight on his terms. He was the one that had to try to break that final nexus instead, and SKillous was very comfortable with that. GG. GG, well played. SKillous takes a lead in the series, and now we're getting into game number 2. It's going to take us here into El Dorado. Oh, let's go. Those DCs were hilarious. I mean, he didn't even need them. Like, honestly, like, SKillous, he kept force fielding the ramp and just denying the Terran. SKillous, he could have just A-moved. He could have just A-moved. Like, it was so unnecessary. It was cool, but still. As here we go, we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of El Dorado, we have the red Protoss player representing Team Liquid, leading the series 1-0. It is SKillous. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Terran player representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Nicoract. You are underestimating man with gun. Clearly not. Clearly not, Pappy. Clearly not. As from here, we are going to be settling in. And again, welcome on all to El Dorado. With this, of course, the map can be transformed in a couple of different ways depending on how our players do expand. But as we mentioned in the previous game, we expect aggression out of Nicoract. Last game, Nicoract, he went for a 3-racks build. He went for a 3-racks into a stim timing, which unfortunately didn't quite hit the mark. SKillous, he bought enough time and it was able to overwhelm the army. Here we could see a 3-1-1 setup into a 2-base limit where you pull the boys. We could see some commitment into Banshees as well. We have seen Nicoract embrace Mass Cyclone. True, he has gone Mass Cyclone before, so that is also a viable option here. It can be difficult to pull off, but I mean, with the new old Cyclone, you can mass them up. So we'll see. For the time being, though, it is double gas. This time, double gas opener out of Nicoract to a faster factory. With the faster factory, it can go into a tank drop, Banshees, a Widowmine drop as well, Reactor Reaper Hellion. as the factory gets thrown down further back, which means no add-on swap. Is a hidden factory here, further towards the main. Likewise, SKillous going for his own gate cyber into expansion, standard opening. Everything's looking normal from the side of the Protoss. And we are opening up with the initial Reaper into Reactor. Reaper's moving out for some scouting information, and Nicoract should expand. Is going to be expanding back at home. Dips into the main. We have our take of choice. Not a Twilight Council this time. It's going to be a Stargate. Let's go. Stargate opener out of SKillous. Here on El Dorado, the rush distance by air is very short, so it does make sense. I mean, it kind of makes sense. On the one hand, yes, it is short by air, so you can be more assertive and more aggressive. But at the same time, this is not a map as large as Abyssal or Neo-Violet Square or King's Cove. So you are vulnerable to all-ins. You're vulnerable to these ground-based pushes. So this is a risky maneuver here by SKillous. Is risky. Reaper dips in. Gonna be forced back. Meanwhile, it is going to be Reacted Reaper Hellion here out of Nicoract. The goal with this kind of army composition, depending on how much he commits and how many Hellions he makes, is, of course, to dive into the mineral line. To break through the natural, dive into the mineral line, and roast up some probes. As he is going to be cutting Reaper Hellion at 3 and 2. Okay, 3 Reapers, 2 Hellions. He's not going up to 5. Meanwhile, SKillous, he has his Onaga. He does spot the move out. So nice moves here by SKillous. He is in position. The Adepts are ready. Phoenix on the way. Can always lift up one of the Hellions. And with that, the first Hellion is going to go down. Very nice shots. Takes down a Reaper. Gets 1. Gets 2. The Hellion does survive. But 2 Reapers do fall. And there's no way for this army to get up the ramp. Just like that, SKillous, he shuts down the aggression. Behind this, Nicoract going for his own Viking, his own Cyclone production. He did not scout the tech of choice, so he's forced to play safe. Just playing it safe, covering his bases. Phoenixes are on the way. The new old new. No, the new old. Because it's not from the last patch, it's from the patch before the last patch. It's the old Cyclone. Let's go. As Phoenixes they get zoned away. Nicoract amassing his army. And we'll see where we go from here. Now, as SKillous is getting to mass Phoenix, he can transition into two different ways, either into Charged Archon, into Charged, of course, a Charged Zealot composition, or into Robo, into Colossus. And this looks like a more traditional form of Phoenix Colossus. We have a Safety Immortal in the way first, but we should soon be seeing a Bay as well. Hello, SKillous. And as he's working towards the bay, the boys are being pulled. Let's go. The boys are being pulled. Nicoract, he's committing here on 2 bases. I mean, again, this is what we expect out of Nicoract, to pull the boys. So he's going for a 1.5 base all in. Meanwhile, back at home, the Safety Immortal is going to come into play. He's just trying to catch reinforcements. Nicoract, he is committed. Shield Biter still in production. Trying to catch out that Immortal. Ooh, Cyclone goes down. A bit of miscontrol here by Nicoract. First Cyclone does fall. Vikings, they can't land. As Phoenixes are not at home. We should be landing. There we go, landing behind the main army, going for the Adepts. Tank does siege, going for the Immortal. The Immortal goes down, massive pickup. And with that, Nicoract, he's breaking through. Breaks through the main army, getting on top of the Robo. Can we depower? We cannot. Not in time. The Immortal does pull out just in time here. Vikings force a lift. Nicoract diving in, pushing further into the natural. That one Immortal holding the line. Phoenixes, they race back over. They go for the tanks. Vikings first. Tank's going to be lifted. He gets 1, he gets 2, he gets both of them. And just barely SKillous, he's holding on. The boys are adding quite a bit of DPS. First tank goes down, second tank as well. And the army gets completely cleaned up. And as the dust settles, Nicoract, he barely has a worker lead. That is true, but he lost his army. He lost everything. Now it's time to counterattack. Robo's repowered. Another Immortal's on the way. And SKillous moves out. What did he lose there? SKillous, he lost 2 Phoenixes. Still has plenty more. And with this army, he can try to break the tank. There's not much here. There's no bunker. There's vanilla Marines. Remember, there's no stim. There's no combat shields. These Marines are really here just for a buffer. They don't really do much. And he wants the tank. He wants it. Up. He commits. Ooh, commits a shade. Tank goes down. The repairs are nice, but the tank should still fall. Ooh. As Phoenixes, they do lift. He's trying up. He does it. He gets one. He gets one tank, and he'll get the other as well. And SKillous, he has done it. He breaks through the defensive line. The all-in failed. And SKillous with the counter. GG. GG. Well played, SKillous. He barely held on against the initial all-in. And from there, snowballed out of control. GG. Whew. GG. Well played. Again, so unfortunate that Nicoract, he was... what, like 3 seconds too late? 3 seconds too late to depower that robo before the immortal popped out. That was a very close move, or clutch move here, as he depowered the robo, but the immortal still popped out. With the help of that one immortal, with the Phoenixes returning back home, SKillous, he held. He was able to hold on, he was able to break through, he was able to shut down the main army. It was a very close defense, and he had to pull a bunch of workers to pull that off, but did it. Did it in the end. Did survive. GG. With that, SKillous takes a 2-0 lead. Does take a 2-0 lead here, and we'll see if Nicoract can bounce back as we're loading into Game 3. The pressure is on. One more loss and SKillous will take the series. Nicoract has to fight back here and now to make a series out of this. We'll see if he can on Ultra Love. As spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the red Protoss player representing Team Liquid. It is SKillous. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Terran player representing the Platinum Heroes. Down in this series, he has to fight back here and now. It is Nicoract. Here we go. So we're getting into our Game 3. And again, we expect aggression. So far, Game 1, we saw Nicoract go for a 3 racks. Game 2, we saw him go for a 1.5 base all-in with early Cyclone Tank Viking, which again had a lot of potential to really pop off and had potential to break SKillous. Almost did break him. Here in Game 3, I was going to say proxy, but there is no proxy out on the map. What haven't we seen yet? We haven't seen like a racks into factory into second, third racks 2 base all in yet, like a proper 2 base all in with proper 2 base saturation. That hasn't occurred yet here in this series, but we are loading into Ultra Love, which is a very defendable map. So I'm not too confident about that kind of play, but we'll see. For now, double gas. Double gas into a faster factory. This can lead into, as I mentioned before, early Cyclones, early Widowmine drop. We can lead into early tank drop as well, Banshee play. Nicoract has options. And we'll see where SKillous takes us. Here we go. As SKillous, he has been shaking it up as well. Did even go Stargate. I was concerned about him going Stargate on El Dorado, and he was almost punished for it. Almost, but not quite. Wait, if he goes Stargate on El Dorado, we can go Stargate on Ultra Love as well. We'll see. But now SKillous checking for a proxy. Does check the third base location before moving out with his own probe scout. Nicoract back at home going to be expanding. Once again, factory further back, so no add-on swap. Looks like we could once again go for Reactor Reaper Hellion, as we did go for the initial Reaper. Moving out across the map. Does move out. Now it's going to be deflected. Likewise, SKillous just being as annoying as possible. Does force back that SCV behind this Stargate opener out of SKillous. So once again, Stargate play. I would say it's less risky on Ultra Love to go Stargate instead of El Dorado. So should be feeling more secure. And as we mentioned, just like the previous game, Reactor Reaper Hellion. Now, last game we saw this completely shut down, and Nicoract did not get any economic damage. We'll see if he has better luck here on Ultra Love. As that is, as we were talking earlier about the potential all-in, racks, factory, 2 more racks, delayed starport, this is a 2 base all-in. Oh boy. Now again, this hits a little bit later than the move out we saw last game because we should be getting full 2-base saturation. Likewise, we should be moving out with ideally 3 tanks. So Tech Lab is finishing up. We're going to get our first tank, then second, then third. With this, we can also throw down an eBay and hit with +1 and build up a bio army. This is very hot mono. Meanwhile, first Hellion goes down. Nicoract pulls away. Does at least confirm the Stargate opener. This time it's going to be Stargate, not into Phoenix's Stargate, into Oracle, into a Twilight Council. SKillous could be hard switching out of a Stargate production, which is going to be the correct move here against what Nicoract is up to. Meanwhile, he dives into the main. He confirms the follow-up. He does get eyes on the Twilight Council. Blink is in production. Nicoract going for the mineral line. Shouldn't get too much here, but does confirm no more Phoenixes, no more Oracles. Speaking of, Oracle does get across the map. Nicoract being cleaned up. And does pull out. Now, it looks like when it comes to this 2-base all-in, Nicoract, he's not getting the eBay, so he's not working towards +1. But he is building up that tank count. First tank is about to arrive. SKillous going straight for the third. Very greedy here by SKillous. As he has scouted, he has scouted the main. He knows what's going on. Loving the stasis trap. Really confident play here by the red Protoss. Very confident. Throwing down extra stasis traps. Getting ready for the move out. When it comes to this 2-base all-in, we should be pulling the boys. And Nicoract, he's at least trying to save those Reapers. Oh. So it's away the army. Oh no! Don't get baited! Oh, it is going to get baited. Stasis goes off. Tank is exposed. The tank will survive. Nicoract so far is holding on. As the Oracle goes ham, the Oracle should not get the tank, thankfully. And we should be waiting for Stim. Stim is almost done. Stim and combat shields. Nicoract soon to pull the trigger. Stasis runs out. Is pushing. Again, Stim should finish by the time the army gets across the map. SKillous slowing him down, picking off a handful of Marines. A lot of Marines do fall. Ay, ay, ay. And Nicoract is losing too much. Again, Stim isn't ready. Neither is combat shields. Just now in 10 seconds, but he bled out so much in the process. As Nicoract is edging on forward. Third tank soon to arrive, but this is an earlier move out from Nicoract. And how much did he lose? 8 Marines. 8 Marines and a Marauder. I mean, that's more Marines than he has right now. So he can't really threaten. He can't really do much here. Oh, don't siege out. Oh, God. Oh, this is risky. SKillous getting behind the army, catching reinforcements on the tank. Tank gets away. And Nicoract, he does move in. SKillous does catch 2 Marauders. Nicely done. Marauders going down. The third base is going to fall. Nicoract getting damage. Black Knights back at home. SCVs are going to be going down. There's barely any reinforcements. And SKillous, he trades well. Scans ahead of time. He spots the stasis. He's aware. And we're going for the base trade. The boys are being pulled. There's only one Stalker to defend. Nicoract, he can shut this down. Yeah, the probes are falling. We're running out of minutes. No, nothing shoots up. Nothing shoots up. No more Marines. Just Marauders and tanks. SKillous, he evacuates. He gets the hell out of there. Meanwhile, I believe a recall back home. No, the Stalkers, they went down across the map. Stalkers did fall. Can he take down the tank? He blinks in. Oh, gets 1 Marauder. Gets 1, gets 2, cleans up the army. And where exactly are we? SKillous down to 9 supply. 9 army supply, I should say. 3 Stalkers and 1 Oracle. Nicoract moving out. He did not kill the third, but he will. At least he looks to. The lack of Marines is concerning, though. Like, 1 Oracle can clean up all these Marines. Like, unironically. They can do so. Going for the Nexus. Stalker reinforcements have arrived. Tank is going to go down. Massive pickoff does get the expansion. Does take down the third. But the army's cleaned up. And SKillous, he has map control. He can move out. Can move out now up to 5 Stalkers. Back at home, Nicoract, he does have the economic advantage. He has mules. Bear that in mind. He has mules. Trying to hold the line. No bunker, though. No bunker. No backup tank. Stalkers, they dive in. Oh, dive going to be punished. Cyclone has arrived. Let's go. Yeah, SKillous is being shut down. Again, getting a little bit too cavalier. Going for the Cyclone. He will get it. Cyclone gets picked up. Down to 2 Marauders. Tank does swap out. Nicoract barely holding on. Whew. And do we expand? We do. SKillous, he expands. He's taking his 3rd. And oh no, he's going for a Dark Shrine. No, not like this. Not again. Dark Shrine on the way. Now what's scary in this kind of position here is that Nicoract, he's muling his heart out. You know, he's not preserving energy for scans. It's not happening. Tank goes down, massive dive, charge is done. And SKillous going for the mineral line. He kills some SCVs. 7 SCV kills 8 SCVs. Up to 9. And again, this is just all the more reason to mule. It's just all the more reason here. Nicoract, he pulls out of gas, needs those minerals. Dark Shrine, halfway done. Nicoract, he's trying to stabilize. Back up to 1 tank, soon to be 2. SKillous, he has high ground vision, he can dive into the main. Main base is somewhat exposed. Tank is not ready. Doesn't go for it. Dark Shrine about to finish. Now, thankfully, there is no War Prism, so it'll take some time for the DTs to get across the map. SKillous, he needs time. Meanwhile, Nicoract, he's been muling. And hopefully he holds on to 1 skin, potentially, but I don't think he will. Once again, Nicoract, he doesn't... Oh, sorry, SKillous does not quite get an SCV. Pokes in. Proxy Pylon is done. Alright, how much energy? That's at 50. Building up. Does he mule back? He does. I mean, he probably will. Oh, that's a turret. Let's go. He's playing safe. Turret's on the way. Who needs mule? Or who needs scans? Oh, no, it's too late. No. DT waddles in. There is a scan available. And there we go. He just muled. He just muled here at the natural. There's the first scan, but he only had 1. Only 1 scan available. Ay, ay, ay. DT gets in. There was just the 1 scan. Not like this. GG gets called, and SKillous, he takes the series 3-0. GG. No. GG, well played. Nicoract, he had 2 scans. He had the turret, so he spent 1 of his scans on a mule instead, so he only had 1. And with that, the Invisible Man. The Invisible Man is just too much to handle. Wreaks havoc in the main base. GG. Too much damage. And SKillous takes the series. GG. Well played. Congratulations here. SKillous does take it. Again, Nicoract just didn't know. He just didn't know there were DTs. He was playing it safe, so I mean, props to Nicoract. He was getting that turret. He was throwing down that missile turret. But you could argue that he was a little bit trigger happy with that scan in the natural, right? Because if the turret was a couple seconds away from finishing, did he need to spend that scan? Because he did, that means no scan in the main. No scan in the main base. That was game then and there. GG. GG, well played. Whew. And with that, SKillous will take the first series. Will take the first series here. And we'll advance on to the next round. Nicoract, he is knocked down to the lower bracket. And with that, that leads us into our second TVP of the night. Oh boy, we got a lot of TVPs.